Few figures in history stand as tall as George Washington. He was more than just a general, more than just a president. He was the man who shaped the very foundation of the United States. From humble beginnings to leading a revolution, and from the birth of a nation to his final days at Mount Vernon, this is the story of George Washington, the father of America. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia. He was the first child of Augustine Washington and Mary Ball Washington. His father was a successful plantation owner, and his family lived comfortably. However, when George was just 11 years old, his father died, leaving his mother to raise him and his siblings alone. Due to his father's death, George could not afford a formal college education. Instead, he learned practical subjects: mathematics, geography, and surveying. These skills would later prove valuable as he worked as a land surveyor in his teenage years. At just 20 years old, Washington joined the Virginia militia. His first major mission came in 1753 when he was sent to deliver a message to the French, ordering them to leave British claimed land. This event would spark the French and Indian War. A year later, in 1754, Washington led his first battle at Fort Necessity. However, this mission ended in surrender. Despite this failure, his bravery was recognized, and he was soon promoted to lieutenant colonel. After the French and Indian War, Washington returned to Virginia as a respected war veteran. He married Martha Custis, a wealthy widow, and became one of Virginia's most influential landowners. However, as tensions between Britain and the American colonies increased, Washington found himself drawn into the fight for independence. The Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts, and the Boston Tea Party fueled colonial resistance. In 1775, the first shots of the American Revolution were fired, and the colonies needed a leader. That leader would be George Washington. In June 1775, George Washington was appointed as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. His army was outmatched, underfunded, and poorly trained, but Washington's leadership turned them into a formidable force. Despite suffering defeats in New York, Washington secured a crucial victory at Trenton in 1776, giving the American army renewed hope. The war would rage on for years, but in 1781, with the help of the French, Washington's forces achieved a decisive victory at Yorktown. The war was won. After the war, Washington hoped to retire, but America needed leadership. In 1789, he was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States. During his 2 terms, Washington established the cabinet, oversaw the creation of the U.S. Constitution, and kept the nation neutral in European conflicts. He set the foundation for future presidents. In 1797, Washington stepped down from power, returning to Mount Vernon. Just 2 years later, in December 1799, he fell ill and passed away at the age of 67.